So my mates Isaac and Ben and I decided to go into the city to do some street talk. Today's topic, should the Quran be banned for hate speech? Now this is a very controversial topic, but it's one that needs to be had. So we've got an A-frame with placards on either side asking that question. Should the Quran be banned for hate speech? We'll also be giving out flyers which contain some of the various violent verses that call for violence against unbelievers. Hopefully we'll be able to engage in some really good discourse and have some really good conversations.
That's it. Cover. How you going, mate?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, good.
I don't want to sell you anything, but I'm Muslim, so this is kind of...
No,
Yeah.
okay, look, we'll just show you. Look, we made a pamphlet. And
It's a question.
We genuinely
Russell.
wanted to come here to talk to people because, look, you know, we try to do some looking at, you know, what happened with Bondi and why people would do it and everything, and, like...
I'm not going to take this with me, but here you are. You know, I'm just...
But you can see why people would have an issue with the Quran in a Western
What do you
country.
guys think about this?
Me, I think my own personal opinion is I think it is it's not compatible with our society, because we don't marry cousins here, we don't marry multiple wives, we don't believe in underage marriage. That was happening in the Dandenong Mosque recently. This is happening, right? We don't believe that other people who are not Christians, because I'm a Christian, people that are not Christians are infidel. We don't believe that either. So these are the things that we actually should be able to discuss. And until we discuss it, we can't get any clarity on the issues.
But
You
it's probably
understand?
too early to talk solutions, right? Like, it's more about really uncovering the true nature of the problem, and we can read the text as much as we like, but if we don't talk to Muslims themselves, we're just assuming, right?
And just so you know, we don't have any hatred towards Muslims at all.
Yeah, okay.
It's just the ideology that we have an issue with, because of what's written in there, because of what we see in Islamic countries, and we also see persecution of Christians in Islamic countries. We don't see persecution of Muslims in Christian countries. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to set it off. So that's all interesting.
What did you say?
I just came for a conversation.
Do you think it should be banned?
We're asking,
You're saying
should it be banned? Should it be banned?
do you think it should be banned?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, why are you asking it?
Because
you
we want
have an
it.
opinion. Do you want to leave that? Well, not if it's about banning it.
Do you know what it teaches?
So that's what you're saying.
No, we're just asking the question, what do you think?
Well, I'm wondering if that's what you're trying to... Are you guys saying, is that your opinion?
No, that's not my opinion. We've all got slightly different opinions. We're asking the question because there's been a lot of I guess terrorist attacks around the world. There's been a lot of violence against people that are non-Muslims. 52 countries in the world persecute Christians, and most of them are Islamic countries that persecute Christians. So now we're importing that same ideology that persecutes Christians into what I still consider to be a Christian country. So we're asking the question and we want to have the debate.
I feel like it's quite the equivalent of when you look at whatever
Yep.
your opinion is, the genocide happening right now. If you agree with it or not, the killing, and then you go, all Jews agree with it. All Jews agree in taking over and Zionism and everything. But that's not true. There's a small minority that believe this extremist view.
Yep.
But then there's a huge range of Jewish people that believe in equality and equal rights. Exactly the same with Muslim. Yes, you do have this small minority of extremists who might project hate, or very, very small that are in that go into the realm of terrorism. But the major majority in Australia.
Yeah.
Are hard-working people just trying to make a living and looking after their
I agree with that 100%. What I would say is, so what this is more about is the ideology, right? I believe in equality before the law. I believe in freedom of speech. These are not consistent with Sharia, which is the law of the Islamic law. Now, a lot of Muslims will say we're not pushing for a Sharia law, but as a good Muslim, and my mate Ben over there married a Muslim lady who became a Christian. And they have a ministry specifically targeting the Muslim community to expose a lot of the volatility that's in their culture, and it comes from the Quran. So you can't debate, you can't criticize Islam, because it could be a death penalty sin in those countries. Now over here, it's still happening. There's been honor killings in this country. There's been, I believe in religious freedom, but I don't believe in religious freedom for any religion. I'll tell you why. If we had a religion where you sacrifice little children, that was your religious belief, we couldn't accept that. We couldn't allow that. If we have a religion and we award them religious freedom, but that particular religion doesn't afford a religious freedom to their own community, where you could be exiled from the family, at most, you could be killed for leaving the faith.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. So the Quran teaches that. It teaches death to apostates.
I think you can definitely. I feel like you're just walking such a fine line between it leaning into this, anti-Muslim, and it's such a fine line because you can pull bits and pieces, and I'm wondering, you say you're a Christian?
Yeah,
or,
I am. Yeah.
Do you also look at every single bit of the Bible? Like, do you not believe in gay rights?
Oh no, I believe they have the right. They have the right to make the choices.
Because in the Bible it says, like, man shall not sleep with another man, or you will be killed.
Yeah, that's the Old Testament. The Old Testament's the Old Covenant. When Christ came, so I'm a Christian. When Christ came, he was without sin first cast a stone, right? So we've all been given the freedom to make choices. This is the biblical idea, right? So you can't coerce somebody to believe what you believe. Now, I'm not saying it hasn't happened in the Christian world. It definitely has, and there's been a lot of volatility. But the Christian text doesn't teach. It doesn't teach that you must obey this or die. What it teaches you is that this is what God wants you to do, but He wants freedom. He wants to give you freedom to make the choices, because if you don't have freedom to make choices, you can't love God. And the whole of the Bible really is about love. The greatest two commands: love your neighbor as yourself and love God, and also love your enemies. Yeah,
I get that, but it was also in the Bible that it talks about, however, God cannot love you if you are homosexual, or like.
That doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that you will be persecuted for sleeping with another man.
No, it says in the Old Testament, we've got in the Old Testament, it's very clear, okay, as a nation that was under that, and this is where there is some context. There is some context to the Old Testament, because the whole nation was taken from Egypt out of slavery, right? So there's a big reason. God took them out and He gave them really strict rules. He actually would have given them less harsh rules, but the people rebelled, and that's why they got the rougher end of the stick. But when Christ came, this is what Christianity is. So you gotta understand, we've got Christian symbols here. That's St. George slaying the dragon. He was martyred for his Christian faith as a Roman. That's Joan of Arc. She was also a Christian martyr. These are people that have died for their faith. Our flag with they call the Union Jack, right? And a lot of people don't like the Union Jack because of history with the English. But if you actually look at the actual meaning of it, it's actually very beautiful. Yeah. And it's three martyrs of Christianity from different parts. So one of them was one of the disciples of Jesus. This is our Christian heritage that I believe is being attacked or at least eroded with mass immigration of people from parts of the world where they don't share those values. And I'll give you an example of these values. Okay, do you believe in equality before the law?
Yeah.
We should all be equal. Not consistent with this. Do you believe in equality between men and women? Do you know where that comes from?
I know what you're getting at, and I understand your point. I've met so many Muslim people, and they're on it
they're good guys. They're good people.
I know you can pull bits and pieces that you think that don't align with quote unquote Christian Australian or Australian in general. But I'm telling you, the majority of them here are doing the right thing and living normal lives, hardworking lives, where they pray to their God, they respect their God, and they respect others too. And I understand where you're getting at with this part here. I just wonder if it's Muslim directed. When you do look at stuff like the Jewish religion, where there is extreme Zionists who have a similar ideology that we are above everyone below us, like we deserve power overall. But then that's a small majority of the real larger Jewish community. And I'm wondering if you have the same view as you do on the Muslims, that there's bits in the Quran that we think is not Australian. Do you also think about that to Jewish people who are coming in with a Zionism ideology?
He's a Jewish man who would happy to have a chat with you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Not a Christian?
Yeah.
Jewish man?
You know what I'm trying to come at here, where yes, there are parts you can pick out of the Quran.
There are, at the fringes of every single community, people whose views we should be rejecting. So any person who's Jewish and comes to you and says, by virtue of us being Jewish, I'm better than you, I'm anything like that, it's complete BS and we need to reject it. In the same way that you've got religious Jews that literally sit with Hamas in Gaza and help them and support them, you got them on both extremes. So both of those extreme positions are wrong, right? And the fundamental, do you think one of them's right?
I lean to one side,
No. What I'm saying is that the extreme people who are pro-Jewish, that are trying to say that Arabs are less or Muslims are less or whatever it is, are just as wrong as the people that are on the other side that are saying that Jews are less. Right. It's the same sort of.
I get. Sorry, I thought you were saying something else. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But so you have that opinion, and you're preaching. You're wanting to have a conversation about the Quran. I'm just wondering, would you also do the same thing and have Jewish up on the sign and?
In a heartbeat.
Okay.
If we'd want to go through the
what I'm getting at when I read that, I'm like, this seems very Muslim directed and Muslim targeted, which I don't feel very good about, because at the end of the day, you have extremists, but
I can understand.
I'm sure you meet Muslims every day and you don't even think about it because they just treat everyone the exact same.
I've got many Muslims that are beautiful people that we're extremely good friends with. Like, of course, man, like people are people at the end of the day. All we're here...
And when it's like banned for hate speech, they're not the ones projecting hate out of the Quran.
All we're here to talk about is the doctrine and the text, right? And that's... Listen, it's the same thing like if you look at a country, right? I can't go and say that, someone didn't like Albanese or Wong's decision on something, therefore every Australian is bad. That's wrong as well, right? So you look, unfortunately, at the policies, right? The doctrines of the entity, whatever it is, to be able to make assessments. We think it's important that we can at least talk about these things because, for better or worse, we're seeing the practicalities play out in our society, which is really problematic. And look, we're spending a lot of time, money and effort to try to determine why all of this happened, what's really inspiring people to take those kinds of actions. And if the inspiration is those texts, I mean, that's a bit of a quagmire. I mean, what do we do with that?
So I'll give you an example of sort of the main sort of purpose behind this, okay? It's a number of things. It's the cousin marriage thing, which is rife in the UK. It's starting to become rife here in the Islamic community. I mean, I'm not sure if you're aware of 60 to 65% of the Pakistani community population in Pakistan are married to cousins. That's a thing they do. They do that because the Islamic text says it's okay to do that. I have a real issue with that, and I'll tell you some more. Right, the fact that you could be killed, that it's prescribed in the Quran. If you leave the religion, you are to be killed. That does happen, and even happens in Western countries. There was a case just recently in the UK where that happened. A young girl, because she converted to Christianity, she was killed by her parents. Like, this is the sort of this is because of this book. That's why they do it.
My point is, you have examples here which are shocking. Everyone can agree on that.
Yeah.
This one example, how many Muslim people are there in the world? How many Muslims are living in Australia or the UK that are just gone by the Quran in a peaceful manner, that are just believing in their God and living their lives peacefully, that aren't taking these absolute extreme little pieces out?
I agree.
And obviously it's hard to see that in the whole scope of things when you are getting these extreme examples, and you're like, holy shit, is this happening more? We're not hearing about it, but it's not.
But we're bringing over the ISIS brides. We know we've got 95. So I work in security with an ex detective, right? And one of his best mates was one of the heads of the anti-terrorist squad, right? 95% of the people of the terrorists that are on the watch list, 95% of them Islamic, right? This is, and you got to, and I know people.
But again, you're looking at this 0.00, like the smallest percent.
So I take your point on that, and I think it's hard for us to say what other people are thinking, right? Because we don't live in their heads. So the best chance that we have, how could we determine what they're thinking, is to ask them to do polls. I mean, they're not perfect, they can have errors to them, but that's the most objective way that we can go about determining what these current attitudes are. And I would say that when we've gone and had a look, Pew, the international polling company, so when they've done polls across the Islamic world, so this is going to bridge, Muslims in Western country, Muslims in Muslim majority countries, just like everyone across the whole world. give or take, the support for extremism was 20 to 25%, depending on which of the polls you look at and things like it. And listen, obviously the majority are not like this. The 25% of...
Yeah, they say 15 to 25% of the Islamic community hold to extremist views. Doesn't mean they would act on it, but that's the polling in multiple jurisdictions around the world. So that's what we're getting at.
We obviously didn't conduct these interviews, right? It was...
Yeah, it just is blatant racism, to be honest with you. If you go, there's a small minority in this religion, none of them, like, we need to stop them coming into the country because they're going to bring, it's just not the reality.
Saying we should stop we should throw Muslims out of the country, man, that's racist. And that's horrible. We're not saying...
Well, I wouldn't even call it racist because Islam's not a race. It's an ideological...
Yeah.
But discriminatory. But what I would say is that right now there's a problem. And what do we do about this problem? And part of that problem is really understanding it properly, which unfortunately means getting into the minds of the people that are perpetrating some of these acts.
Understanding, sure, but I think it's just such like a cutthroat ban, like we are like, because...
Well, it's a question. It's just a question.
I know, but the question is based, like, should we ban it? Like, get rid of it completely? That's the question that you're asking.
That's right.
And my answer is no, because what you're doing is you're cutting out a religion for so many good people in Australia, so many contributing to the Australian community as a whole, really good, hardworking people, and to ban that for them is just...
So what should we do?
But I honestly, I know you've got these stats and like these like scary stories and like these things happening overseas. For me, I've only had really good experiences with Muslim people. I know there's a very small majority that might have these extremist views, but I just can't agree with a ban or anything like that.
And that's fine. Yeah. We're happy for you to have a disagreement.
That's why I stopped, because I just wanted to. I was worried that I was walking past something that was preaching that. Not asking the question, but going, we should.
What puts you in a good spot? The fact you were willing to honestly engage in conversation.
Yeah, and I'm fine. Like, honestly, I'm so fine for people to have a difference of opinion with me, and I'm sure that's the same with you guys. Otherwise, you wouldn't be out here.
That's Western culture right there. Is the ability to debate and speak about things.
Yeah, I just saw and I was like, I just didn't want to make sure you guys are standing here handing out, fuck Muslims, like.
No, that wouldn't be cool, man.
Yeah. All right. Good to chat, boys.
Take care, mate.
Man. Have a good
God
week.
bless. Wait. It's actually going all right.
I know. It's I just wish there was a way we could get more people to chat.
But we've only been here for a minute. We've had we've had 2 chats. Yeah.
I'm always looking at what we could have done better. Can't help myself.
Mr. Perfectionist.
Yeah.
Islam should be banned for hate speech. Now they came out with those new hate speech laws and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, take a read. We're not here, we love Muslims. Okay? We love Muslims. We just hate an ideology that says that. Do you agree with that?
Sorry?
You're obviously not a Muslim.
Oh.
No. So I'm not either. I'm a Christian. 52 countries in the world severely persecute Christians, and nearly all of them are the Muslim Islamic countries. Islam as a religion is against freedom of speech. You can't criticize.
Say that Christians also persecute Muslims?
No, it's not. They don't. I mean, you've got Muslims in a Christian country and they're not being persecuted. They're not being in prison. They're not being. It's very different.
We agree that we should ask the question of every religious text, but there was only one where we felt we couldn't. That we had to keep asking questions and engage the conversation.
Yeah, so
a bit further.
So that's why we're having the chat with people, because I believe, and I'll tell you my own belief is that our society where we have freedom of speech, freedom of political expression, protesting, the right to protest, that's straight from Christianity as well. We have the Protestant Reformation, equality between men and women. That comes from a number of Bible verses. That's where we get that from.
From the Quran.
That's from the Quran. The Quran is directly opposed to those principles, and they're not. And I'm not saying that if you go to an Islamic country, like most of them, women have to be covered up. They don't have the same rights in the court. So they don't have equality before the law the same as men do. So I'm opposed to those principles. That's and it's this book that promotes and teaches that ideology.
It
Oh, for sure.
Well,
But
we
then
want people to notice and come have a chat with us.
Yeah.
So
But if a Muslim walked past and saw this board, how do
we
you
just
think
had
they'd
that a few
think about it?
times.
So just so you know, the Muslim people often do evangelism here. We do debates with them. They have things saying that Christ didn't die, right? And as a Christian, I find that incredibly offensive. And they teach things that undermine our culture as well and our values. So I'm just doing the same, but I'm doing and I.
Wrong, so make a right. Why do you?
It's not wrong. I think it's not wrong to freely speak.
We
Express what you
really
think.
actually have wonderful conversations a lot of the time with Muslim people who are much more knowledgeable about the text, and we can actually engage deeply in a debate about some of the problematic verses that we see. But we're getting conflict from wanting to have alternative legal systems, as we see happening in the United Kingdom.
You got 200 Sharia courts in the United Kingdom now, which is in direct opposition to the rule of law for everybody else.
People are avoiding normal courts because of this and having conversations about integration of one legal code into the the British common law system, which is the basis of our legal code here in Australia as well. So I think it's an important discussion for us to be having, to be brave enough to have the conversation in a morally upright and forthwith kind of way, but just do it respectfully. And if we're guilty of being attention seeking in what we put on our board, I suppose that's true.
I understand. Just if you're talking about respectful discussion, I wouldn't have a provocative sign like that. That is all I'll say. I want to give that back to you.
Okay.
Thank you for talking to me. But
No worries.
Pleasure. Muslim, Christian, Muslim. Is that
This is our question. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is just dialogue. This is not us projecting anything on anyone. We want it. We want it.
Muslims, brother. I love them.
Yeah.
I don't hate you. We love Muslims, but fortunately, the Quran says a lot of things that are very not nice. What do you say? What do you say when you look at these verses, brother?
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So if you look at the context behind these,
Have.
you have?
Yeah.
So why they're on the paper?
Because I don't have enough paper to put all the context behind it.
We don't have anything.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, I respect your decision. I don't mind. Right?
Yeah, no problems.
But why
It
are
should-
you guys out here proclaiming this kind of stuff?
Because this is a Christian country. That's why.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Do you believe it's a Christian country, or you don't think it is?
Percentage of Christians and Muslims in the country?
Muslims, I think, about 5%.
Yeah.
Self-identifying Christians, no, it's around about the 40%.
It's probably a lot higher on the next census. But what I'm saying is our society, like our flag's Christian. It's got 3 crosses there. It's St. George's Cross and Andrew's Cross and St. Patrick's Cross. Yep, and that's St. George there. That's a statue of St. George slaying the dragon. He was a Roman soldier that became a Christian that died for his faith. That's Joan of Arc over there. She was a Christian martyr that died for her faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, our constitution, which is the highest law of the land, literally starts with the words humbly relying upon the blessings of Almighty God. And in the state, in the Parliament, the House of Reps, and in the Senate, every sitting day they do the Lord's Prayer, which is what Jesus said. So we are.
I'm happy. I'm happy that it's driven by religion. I don't want it to be atheist.
Yeah,
That's the worst of the worst. I agree. Yeah. So this is why we're out here, because I've been here before. I had Muslim evangelists here, and we had a debate with them, and they were trying to convince people that we're a secular society.
Yeah.
And I had a real issue with that, because I know we're not. And I know we're not for various reasons, including the way our laws are set up. Freedom of speech is Christian. The right to protest comes from Christianity. The abolition of slavery comes from Christianity.
Isn't that for yourself?
Well, you can both have individual religious practices, and you can have group or societal level religious practices. So you can.
Yeah, but how does other people practicing religion affect your actual?
Well, the main reason would be what we're seeing. So, like, we've had the Danny.
Talking about Australia, not.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. So we've had in this country, we've had underage girls married off by imams. We've had imams publicly in Sydney and in Melbourne publicly saying that we need to get rid of our need to get rid of the system that's corrupt, or they've said things like we need to get rid of the laws, we need to bring in Sharia. They're publicly saying this. When I see women that are wearing a burqa, I don't have an issue with the hijab. When I see them wearing a burqa, I find that to be really oppressive to women. My daughter's scared of it. So it's these things that I can see our society very different to when I was growing up. And I don't like these things. I don't like the multiple wives and then single parent pensions, and then we're footing the bill. I don't like cousin marriage. I know that happens a lot as well. So these are all issues that I think are relevant, and I think they're logical things to raise. And I don't like the idea that I'm an infidel because I don't agree with your religious practices. I don't think of you as any less. I might not like the ideology because you're a good guy, and most Muslims are. But the ideology, and this is just about the ideology that's taught in that book. It's not about the individual Muslim as a man. I don't have any issues with you as a man, okay? And I would defend you, I'd protect you, okay? But I wouldn't defend and protect the ideology that teaches things that I don't agree with. But as a man, I have an obligation to love. We're meant to even love our enemies as Christians. So, yeah, and that's where I'm at. So it's not an attack at you, but I like to for a child, mate. And just food for thought. Have a think about it. And like I've said, freedom of speech, freedom of political expression, separation of church and state. These are all Christian ideas. I mean, the equality between men and women.
Freedom of speech, but why should we ban that?
So the reason, no, this is just a question.
Okay.
This is just a question. But freedom of speech always has limitations. It's just like freedom of religion has limitations. Like you wouldn't let people freely practice a religion where they murder children and sacrifice children, would we? Right? So there's always a limitation to the freedom. There can't be any imposition on those higher values and principles. And obviously, as a Christian with Western values, I see the attack on them from the Marxist communist government that we've got, and then I see Muslims. It upsets me, but they're voting the Greens and Labor, who are completely against everything that they're really there about and we're about. So there's a number of issues, and that's why we want the conversation and get some debate. Yeah, we're going to put it up. We'll put it up on the Christian Warrior Project. Okay, hopefully we can get some clarity with some people, and I'm hoping that some of the Muslims go, yeah, you're right about some of this stuff. People do interpret it harshly and oppressively. I mean, the cousin marriage thing in Pakistan's crazy to me. And that's the thing. And so all these things you can't talk about, and then now they're trying to bring in hate speech laws, right, where you can't say these things. Well, hang on a minute. These are legitimate concerns that people have. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be on the show.
I can blur out your face if you want.
That's fine.
Yep. Yeah. So this will be on there, but I'll blur out your face out of respect for you. Yeah. And I get it because all good. I think you did very well. You presented yourself well.
I like to come here, people's schools.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Take care, brother.
No, that's not a problem, yeah.
You reckon, really? I'm a Christian.
You reckon we can have that on the street?
Yeah.
Should be able to have it, Free speech.
Well, that's where we might just need to be arrested for it, charged, and then take it through the courts and make sure we set a precedent, because we really are at that precipice where we're about to lose a lot of our freedom.
Are you a Muslim? I'm Hindu.
He's Hindu.
Oh, there you go.
So he would have an understanding of the history in India.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about this book, the Quran?
I don't think the Quran should be banned at all.
You think it's all right?
Because a lot of the preachings that the Quran teaches is also good, just like how it's bad as well. Like in the Quran, the Talmud, there's a lot of good teachings from there, but there's also a lot of bad teachings. Mm-hmm. But people still read it because it's religious.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point you make. I appreciate that.
How hardcore Hindu are you?
I just pray to the temples. I just pray at a temple for a few days.
Yeah.
Like once in a while I go to the temple.
And you like the whole idea of religion, do you think it's like everyone's believing blind faith, or do you think some have more evidence than others?
I'm not too much invested into a religion, like me personally.
Yeah. You'd probably try to live your life as a good person, though.
Yeah.
How do you know what's
That's good.
good and bad?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't even know 1% of my own religion.
So I'll tell you something. I'll tell you the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate what you've said and having the confidence to come up and chat. You boys, I believe that Christianity is the greatest. It's the greatest religion to influence probably the most freedom in the world and prosperity. We abolished slavery with Christianity. That's why slavery was abolished.
William Wilberforce.
So you're obviously a Christian. And then in 1807, they brought in the Slave Trade Act, which made man stealing illegal. This was inspired by the Golden Rule in Matthew 7 verse 12. Do unto others, you should have them do unto you. Then they brought in the Slavery Abolition Act in 1833, where they took out a loan, the British Empire, to pay out all the slave owners to free the slaves. That was paid off in 2015. This is Christianity at war. And then from there went to the abolitionist movement in the US, all throughout Europe. Freedom of speech comes from Christianity. Freedom to protest. We had the Protestant Reformation, which is the Protestant Reformation. That comes from Christianity. Equality between men and women comes from Christianity. You know, like in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, God made man in his image. In the image of God made he him. Male and female made he them. And then we've got Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, where it says...
Meaning whenever an atheist says, I believe in human equality, they've got nothing to point to say humans are equal. So like all they have is evolution. So you're genetically human, therefore maybe you should be equal. Yeah. But then they don't give that same human dignity to, I don't know, maybe a fetus that still has human DNA.
Yeah, but, so that you're right, because Christianity really did, the value for life, for human life, really was made, established at a higher level, or we were given a higher status because God made us in his image. And because of that, especially many women who were in the Roman times were treated as lesser, they realised that no, I'm not less just because I'm a woman. So I think that's a beautiful thing for Christianity. I think equality before the law, the right to be heard, the right to a fair trial, these are all Christian ideas, deeply Christian.
Meaning other religions don't offer this same robust philosophy.
You know, I'm pretty sure in Hinduism, men and women were treated equally.
Isn't it like a caste? I don't know. Is there a caste system or something?
Yeah, we had that.
Yeah.
And we're trying to abolish it right now.
It was actually Christianity. This is an interesting one. I think his name was Edward something, actually. He was one of the leaders for the East India Company. Yeah. He was the one that outlawed wife burning of sati, which was a Hindu practice.
That was pretty common as well.
Yeah, and that was abolished also by Christians who come from the British. You know, it was the British Christians that abolished that. Yeah. So Christianity has some blood on its hands, no doubt, but it has given so much good, and we're not taught this. We're not taught this in the Western countries anymore either. And so part of this discussion is I want to promote these ideas, but this is obviously this sign it's a bit radical, and it's going to get people to engage in conversation, and it's good because you want to get the conversation.
Do you think there's anything Hinduism has that Christianity doesn't have? Like Christianity's lacking in some way, but Hinduism has the right idea on this area?
I don't know. I haven't researched much about Christianity, and again, I don't know 100% about my own religion. I don't even know 1%.
But I appreciate your honesty, and you know what I also appreciate? That you had the confidence to come up here and speak, because it's actually very hard to do that. Not many people are doing it, and it takes a man that's got something in him to go, you know, I'm gonna have it.
Agreed.
I'm gonna have a chat. Yeah. So no, I appreciate it.
I'm pretty sure in Hinduism, now how we're talking about the men and women equality thing.
Yep.
In Hinduism, the people who do inappropriate stuff towards the women, they get punished. I've seen in a lot of Hindu epics.
Yeah.
They get punished in their later life.
Yep. Yeah. And like my main issue really with the Islamic text is that it teaches that women are lesser. You can marry your cousins. And we know that that's very common in Pakistan. 60% of the population's married to their cousins. I don't agree with these things, and we're bringing this over here. And I find that to be that's not going to add value to our Christian society. It's actually going to go against it. Freedom of speech is not really consistent with Islam, and there's lots of other things like child marriage that exists in Islam, and it's been happening here. Even that one of the mosques, there was a big scandal a while ago, and the imam went to jail for marrying underage children. So this is really what's inspiring this discussion. You know, to promote, because we're seeing our societies decaying, and you know, a loss of our Christian heritage and values. But I think the main focus of this discussion really is the Islamic text and our Christian values. So that's what I like that you are from a Hindu background, so we can, because I know people that are atheists and they don't even believe in God, but they still respect Christianity because of the freedom of speech, all these freedoms that they have. The right to be heard, the right to debate ideas. Like, these are all Christian ideas that we've, you know, the abolition of slavery. I think these are beautiful things, and people don't even realise they're Christian. But you can look all these things up, and you can find the Bible verses and the historical people and figureheads that were behind promoting them. And just for your interest, that's St. George slaying the dragon. You know St. George's?
No.
It's on our Australian flag. We've got the red cross, the red one, and you've got the 3 crosses on the Union Jack. The red one in the middle, that's the St. George's cross. That's St. George. He was a Roman that died for his faith, Roman soldier. And that's Joan of Arc. She was a Christian martyr as well. So we're deeply Christian here, and we just want a bit of a revival, and we want to point out some of the problematic ideologies that are coming in here, specifically being the Islamic one.
And I agree with you, but I've also learned a little bit about Islam, not too much, but they also condemn these sorts of acts as well, like child marriage, in some areas.
I think you're right, because there is a bit of a reformist movement, which I hope happens. But obviously Muhammad's the perfect example, and he married a 6-year-old.
No, from what I've heard, it was a 9 years woman past her maturity age.
That's when he had sex with her, but he married her at 6, had sex with her at 9. I've had the discussion with Muslims. I've seen the mental backflips to try to justify it. I honestly don't believe that a 9-year-old could ever be ready to have sex with a 52-year-old man. I think that's completely wrong. And because he did that, we see all throughout the Islamic world this happening, and people, especially in Afghanistan, there's no shortage of victims of that.
I do agree with you on that stance. But I think people are being misled.
No doubt.
I believe people are being misled with the Quran and the Holy Scriptures, and they're just taking in literally, word for word.
And they always will take things literally. That will always happen. You've got those people that just do that. They're the diehards. And there's a lot of peer pressure. I mean, my friend Ben over here, he married a Muslim who became a Christian, and you know, she doesn't have any contact with her family. They exiled her. That's sort of a practice. That's like the bare minimum of what often happens with people who leave the religion. And if you go to Islamic countries, most of them have apostasy laws. So if you leave the religion, you can be killed or you can go to jail. Like, I think Iran's 24 years. If you leave your religion, 24 years in jail. And I think that's just not acceptable. That's not consistent with Western values. And they get this apostasy penalty from the Quran. That's where they get it from.
Agreed.
And I think it's important that we talk about these things, because if we aren't allowed to talk about them, then we're not going to be resolved. It's actually a really good maxim of law. In order for a matter to be resolved, it must be expressed. And
that's what a lot of people don't get, because a lot of people are relying on violence instead of just having a conversation, like a proper one-on-one conversation to solve conflicts.
And if you don't want to be in this, I can scrub you.
No, that's fine. I'm happy to be in it.
It's almost like like if you join some criminal underworld gang, and then they said once you're in, you can't leave. That's how I see Islam can be to a lot of people. It's like if you leave, you can be killed, and it's happening in Western countries. There's been quite a number of honour killings to get the family's honour back because one of the daughters left or whatever, because they've left the religion, they've been killed. Now it's not the majority of people that do this, but there are the radicals that do. And it's because of that text, it's because of that book and their hadiths that's where they get the idea that this is the right thing to do.
Agreed. And I get where you're coming from. But when I first looked at you, I thought this was going to be like some white supremacist sort of thing.
No.
But no, it's completely the opposite.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
It's completely the opposite of what I thought it'd be.
We're just like we're Christians. My other friend's Jewish. We're a mixed bag. There's other guys that are sort of atheists and that have similar views on what's happening. But obviously we come from a different angle. But
agreed.
But I mean, it's important that we talk about it, isn't it?
Yeah. Nonetheless. Yeah. There's no free speech. Then things can't be resolved.
Yeah. Which is probably why in a lot of those Middle Eastern countries these issues can't, because you're not allowed to question.
Yeah. On a different topic.
Sure.
In regards to 9/11, do you think what Israel did was right?
What do you mean?
It's like Israel also had like a large piece to play in the 9/11.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't believe in the official story at all. But as to who's behind it, I don't think we know for sure really who's behind it. I know people blame Israel for a lot of things, and I'm sure that just like most governments, like including ours, have been involved in many things that are wrong, but because we're not in those secret rooms where they do these meetings and plan things, we don't really know. A lot of the time I think it's more, we don't like those people, so we're going to blame them. I think China's got a lot to do with things. I think, a lot of them have
agreed.
I think that there is Qatar's sponsoring the universities to make them more Islamic. They've invested over $1 trillion into Western education and Western governments. And they're sworn to the Muslim Brotherhood. I got real issues with Hamas. Hamas have got a charter. Their 1988 charter, Article 7, says to kill all the Jews. And I go, well, that's not right either. So...
I mean, I definitely condemn what Hamas did, but it's more of like a resistance act.
You reckon?
I feel like it's more of a resistance group.
You should have a chat with my mate over there. He's Jewish. He's one of his cousin was killed in Bondi, right? So he understands it because he's been over there. The family's over there. Do you want to have a chat with Isaac? He'd love to have a chat with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what was your name again?
BC.
I'll blank that out too on the things. We don't have your name.
No, that's fine.
BC.
Yeah, just BC.
And things like that,
Can you have a chat with BC? He's got some interesting stuff to say about Israel. I'd love to have a chat with these boys.
We're going to just swap.
How are you, boy? I'm Nick. How are you? Yep. So what do you think?
I want to know your side.
Yeah, sure. Okay. It's a question. So we got a challenge to free speech, right? And we have a. Do you believe that we're in a Christian country?
Right now?
Do you believe?
It's a multicultural country.
It's actually a Christian country, and we've been told. You get told that by the government. It's a Marxist government. That's the problem. We have a communist government. I tell you how. I explain to you why we're a Christian country. Just see that statue over there. You know what that is?
Which one?
That one, right there. That's St. George slaying the dragon. St. George was a Christian martyr who died, and he's actually, the St. George's cross is on our flag. Our flag has 3 Christian crosses on it to do with saints that died. That's Joan of Arc, who was also a Christian martyr. Our constitution begins with the words, our constitution is the highest law of our whole land, humbly relying upon the blessings of Almighty God. And then obviously the head of power is the crown, the queen, the king who makes an oath on the Bible, the Christian Bible, and the Senate and the House of Reps every sitting day have to say the Lord's Prayer, which is what Jesus gave us in the Gospels. So that alone, and then our common law system is Christian. The people that have grown up here would know over 400 Bible verses, even if they're atheists, because the sayings that we say are Christian. You know, heavens above, you know, be a man, the blind leading the blind. These are all Bible verses that people just, so they think Christian. On top of that, freedom of speech is Christian. Protesting is a Christian idea. We had the Protestant protesting Reformation, right? 500 years ago. We've got the abolition of slavery is a Christian. That was Christianity that abolished slavery. We've got the equality before the law is Christian. The right to be heard is Christian. The right to a fair trial is Christian. Equality between men and women, not the woke leftist version, but actual equality between men and women. That comes from Genesis chapter 1 verse 27 and Galatians 3 verse 28. So I believe we're very, very Christian still, and our whole society operates this way. But we are being attacked. Our Christian heritage is being attacked and destroyed by a communist government that we have, who's also trying to take away freedom of speech, which is a Christian idea. And then obviously the mass immigration of people that don't share Christian values is not helping that. So now I've laid it down. There you go.
So how's that connected to your question over there?
Well, this question, should this be banned for hate? Well, because of what's in it. So freedom of speech is not consistent, in my opinion. I'm happy to have the debate and be proven wrong.
If you want to have freedom of speech, you shouldn't be against it.
No, you can't. It's the same with freedom of religion. Should we have freedom of religion?
Of course.
Okay, so complete freedom of religion?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about if we were doing Baal worship and we were sacrificing children? That's part of the religion. Would that be okay?
That shouldn't be allowed though.
Okay, so there's limitations. Of course there are. And that's the same with this. So, do you believe that I'm an infidel? But this text says that I'm an infidel.
Where does it say that?
There's a number of verses. Heaps of verses that say that I'm an infidel. I've actually got one here. We've got one here that's an infidel. Here we go. Maim and crucify the infidels that criticise Islam. I've actually spoken to many Muslims about it because I used to train. I had an MMA gym for 12 years. I used to train a lot of Muslims.
Wait, so if they should ban that, do you think they should ban the Torah and stuff like that?
No, and the reason I'd say that is because I know there's a little bit of stuff that's bad.
There's not a little bit.
Nowhere near what's in the Quran.
Well.
No, you tell me what's in there, and I'll tell you what's in here that I think is bad.
They preach about Jews being superior to everyone else. Everyone else is a goy. That's what they say.
That's not in the. You're talking about the Talmud.
Yeah, and that's what's happening in the
Talmud's not the Torah, for starters. It's a different book.
Do you think that should be banned?
I haven't read the Talmud. I've read certain parts. I've seen a lot of memes going around on social media because I'm not a Jew. I'm a Christian. I've seen a lot of memes going around where they cite all of these. They're not verses. They're like whole chapters or whole debates. So I went and had a look and see if the Talmud really did say those things. I actually found it didn't say those things. Like, I'll give you an example. One of them I think was.
That's what they preach about on the TVs and everything else. And that's how they're oppressing the people in Gaza. Are they not? You tell me.
I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not in Gaza.
So you haven't seen the war
I've seen both. I've seen stuff on both sides that looks pretty. I mean, I know that there's terrorist attacks from one side. I know people from Israel who talk about the terrorist attacks that happen all the time. I know a girl who one of the taxis she was in was blown up and her butts, and she's an Israeli. So I know that's happening. And I don't believe that's justified. And I see that there was this October 7th happened. I believe there should be a response to that. Now, obviously, you would agree.
It started before that. It was way before that. It started when they created Israel.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure about that. That's how.
Have you been there?
How did they take over their land? That was the Palestinians land. And now where is it Israel land?
There were always Jews there though, even before
obviously
Israel.
they
There was
lived-
lots.
Exactly. They lived in Palestine and they lived peacefully with
There's a really
and then they created what? Israel in like what, 1940? 1945? After the World War II happened,
yeah.
And that's when they started creating Israel as well.
But we could go on that tangent. He's the better man for that tangent. But this is, let's stick to, because we're going on a totally different tangent. Should the Quran be banned for hate speech? I'll tell you why. I have an issue with it here. Let me just explain to you why.
Well, if you're going to have that, you should have the other books as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I have an issue with this one. Okay, all right? Because that's the subject matter. We freedom of speech is not consistent with, in my opinion, with this book, because you can't criticise Muhammad, you can't criticise Islam without there being a penalty, right? I believe that religious freedom is not consistent with this book, because if you leave Islam, what is the punishment under the Sharia for leaving Islam, for apostate, for becoming an apostate? Yeah, if you leave Islam as a Muslim, what would happen? If I was in Iran and I was a Muslim and then I left Islam, what would be the penalty?
Nothing would happen in Iran. I've been there, I've lived there. Nothing would happen to you. There's Jews there, there's tons of Jews.
Oh, I know.
There's Christians there.
I know that.
And you've seen the train station that created for, I think, for the Christians. Have you seen that?
No. So here, I know where you're going. What I'm saying is, if you were a Muslim who then converted and left Islam, or any of the countries that have apostasy laws, because a lot of them do have apostasy laws. Like if you're in Afghanistan and you left and you became a Christian, what would happen?
Nothing really.
You don't believe anything would happen? I don't believe you. I don't believe that nothing would happen.
I know, I'm from Afghanistan.
Yep.
Yeah, I know people that are Christian, that were Muslim before in Afghanistan. They moved here, turned into Christians.
Over here, yep.
Yeah, they went back. Nothing happened to them.
Yep. So you don't think the Taliban would kill them? Because I've met people, I know people that have had families where that's happened to them over there. Now maybe it's not happening to all of them.
Say Taliban's, they're extreme. They're an extreme.
They are, yeah, good.
But
I don't support them either.
Sorry, bro, my name's Ben. But if it says in the Quran, when Muhammad said, whoever leaves his religion, kill him.
It doesn't say that.
It does say that. Yeah, he'll show you. He married a Muslim who became a Christian, and he's got a fair.
Said that in the Quran.
He's going to get you the text. So, yeah. Also, you know, the marrying of cousins. I have a real issue with that as well.
I don't support Taliban either.
Good man, thank you. And I don't like the marrying of cousins. I don't believe that's right. I think that's wrong, and that's something that is consistent with the Islamic text.
Well, you're allowed to marry your cousin.
No, the Torah. No, the Torah is very clear.
Christianity, Bible.
Well, we still use the Torah. That's part of it.
Yeah.
If you go to Leviticus chapter 18, verse 6, it says that you can't marry any close family.
Sahih Bukhari, whoever changes Islamic religion,
I don't follow that.
Good man.
Oh, you don't follow
the hadith?
That's
Sahih.
No,
you don't follow hadith at all.
No, I'm a Shia. So we follow.
Well, are you Quran only?
Quran, and we have our other things.
Okay. So do you? So that's why you guys practice muta. Muta. Temporary marriage.
Yeah, it's allowed. We don't practice it.
Yeah, I know, but in the Quran, it allows it.
Yeah, and why do you think they allow it?
Yeah, but not because of war, because they were still practicing it even after war.
No, there's widows when their husband died, they have no form of income. They don't have no.
So instead of giving charity, you make them into prostitutes.
You can't give that much charity.
I'm not too sure, bro. I don't think that's very nice.
You can. I know.
They're not forced to do it.
Yeah, I know, but it's not very nice, is it?
They do it themselves to make money.
And girls do OnlyFans too, and we don't think it's right.
Who does OnlyFans?
Oh, no.
Western girls that are godless do it. I don't think that's right. Prostitution is not right, and muta marriage. I can't see a difference between that and prostitution.
It's not.
Because you go, I'll marry you and have sexual rights to you for a week, and we agree.
Not forced to. That's the thing.
The prostitutes aren't forced to either.
Yeah, they're not forced to.
They choose to do that.
You know, in the Bible, it encourages Christians to look after the widows.
Yep, and the orphan.
We're encouraged.
Do they do it?
Yes.
Real Christians
They
do.
don't do
Yes.
it.
When my dad
Yeah, real
died,
Christian.
when my dad
Well,
died,
have you guys seen that video on TikTok where there's this lady? She calls like 50 to 100 different churches for baby formula.
yeah.
Every single one of
But
them
the-
denied it, and then as soon
but
as
the
she called
difference
it,
is, brother,
mosque,
in our Bible, it tells us to look after.
that's the thing. Yeah.
In our Bible, it
Yeah,
encourages
yeah.
to look after widows.
They could say whatever.
And you got to remember the Quran is the eternal word of God, brother. And in the eternal word of God, even before creation, it said you can do muta.
Yeah.
Think about that, brother.
But
Let him have his say. Yeah.
there's stuff written in the Bible, yeah, but 90% of the Christians didn't follow it. Us
Okay.
Christians drinking, they eat pork, that's not allowed. They do what? But the OnlyFans girls, they're like Christian as well.
No, they're not Christian.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
That's what they preach.
You can say you're Christian.
And then you're talking about.
I could dress up as a Chinese soldier and say I'm a soldier. It doesn't mean I am,
Yeah,
right?
and you're talking about slavery. Is America a Christian country as well?
Yep.
Yeah, and do they have slaves?
They're here
No.
for about another 50 years.
Yes, they did.
Oh no,
They just abolished it like what 50 years ago, and they had.
no, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't. They abolished it in 1865.
Yeah.
1865. And you know,
But they did
okay.
have it. Did they not have it?
So let me explain to you. The only place in the world who abolished slavery was the Western Christian countries. Do you know the history of the abolition of slavery? Let me explain it to you. I think it would be really good for you to know this, okay? So William Wilberforce, he was a politician, a British politician. You can look all of this up. He brought in the Slave Trade Act, which made it man stealing illegal. So you couldn't take slaves, and it was because of certain Bible verses, including one in Acts and the golden rule in Matthew chapter 7, which is do unto others as you have them do unto you. Then the Slavery Abolition Act was brought in 1833, and the British Empire took out a loan of 40% of that year's GDP to pay out all the other slave owners to free the slaves, and they'd already had legislation to stop people from being able to take slaves. Then the rest of Europe followed, and then about 30 years later, they had the abolitionist movement in the US, also driven by Christianity. Now, the Islamic world did not abolish slavery.
There's no slavery.
And you know the first war that the US had? Do you know what the first war that the US had was with the Barbary states, because they were assailing their ships and stealing US. This was in about 1780. About 1780.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
That was the first.
The Bible came out 2,000 years ago, and they were still doing it till what 1870s and stuff.
Well, the country only became a country 4 years earlier than that.
Yeah, but even over here, they built the country on slaves. The Aboriginals got oppressed by them, and that's how they built the country.
Well,
that's. And they were trying to. I'm sure you've seen it. They were trying to turn everyone into like whites and stuff. They were stealing the Aboriginal children. They were trying to switch them up.
This is not Christian stuff, though.
Yeah, but you said this country is built on Christian values.
No, it is built on Christian values.
That was allowed, though.
Now, the idea, and this is interesting because I have this discussion with Muslims a lot. They never acknowledge any of their faults, but they're very quick to point out faults of others. The Islamic world did not abolish slavery until it was pressured to by the Western countries. And that's a fact. Slavery. Do you want to bring up some of the slavery verses for them, just so you can see that slavery? Because even your own imams, I follow them and I watch them. They talk about slavery. Slavery is a part of your religion.
Who's my imam?
I'm talking about prominent imams that is very public and about their faith, and I follow a lot of them.
I follow Sistani. I don't know if you know him. Sistani. You know him?
No, but what I'll say.
And Ayatollah Khamenei, the guy that just died.
Oh, you follow him?
Yeah, I follow him.
You think he's a good guy? Do you think that? And why?
Do you think Trump is a Christian? Do you think he's a good guy?
I don't know who he is really.
Trump. Look, you've seen what he's done. You know, you've seen what he's done. He was on the Epstein list. He was literally
a lot of Muslims on there too.
Not really.
Yeah, there was. Yes, there was.
And which Muslim?
There's heaps of Muslims. We'll get you this verse first, and then we'll get you.
There's two types of Islam. Shia and Sunni.
Yep, I know.
Yeah.
I know. So you don't think that because I just did an event recently. We ran security for an event, and it was an Iranian event, and they were celebrating the death of Khomeini.
They're Zionists. They sold their country.
So obviously you have a very different view on things.
I've been there. I've seen their people. The people that live there, they love their country. They love their.
You got that verse?
Yeah, I'm
So we're going to get you some verses to show you that.
You're showing me. It's not verses from the Quran. That's I think. What do you call it?
So
those are books that are written by people.
So Quran, here you go.
You heard about they guard their private parts except for their wives or those who their right hand possesses. So in war, if you capture a woman and your right hand possesses her, you're allowed to have sex with her. She becomes a sex slave.
It doesn't mean that.
Oh yeah, it does. You get the.
Brother,
It does. We're gonna bring all this up and put it on the screen when we do the video. So.
Sure.
Tafsir on this. I'll give you the tafsir. What's it?
So this is my issue is with the Islamic text is what it teaches and what we see. We see the Islamic world. We've got mass inbreeding, cousin marriage, and I.
The same thing in Israel. Why are they not getting any hate?
Remember what I just said to you, that you guys will never acknowledge your own fault. You'll always focus on everybody else. That's the problem. You can't acknowledge that we are doing something wrong. It's like, yeah, but what about them? That's not justifying anything.
And
okay, you're just passing the buck. Marrying cousins I believe is wrong.
Why is that wrong?
Because it causes birth defects. So in the UK, 3% of the population are Pakistani and are married to cousins. Out of that 3%, 33% of the birth defects
Is that
derive.
hurting anyone else? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
hurting other people around them?
So you're justifying
Who's
it.
that hurting?
Well, not only does it hurt the children, but it hurts the economy. It costs a fortune. It's a massive. The NHS can't keep up with it in the UK. We've got something similar here. Very hard to get statistics on it. They don't report the statistics on it, but there are statistics from the UK, and there are other Western countries that have similar statistics. So that's an issue, and that's because Muhammad married his cousin. He said it was okay to marry cousins, and because he's promoted this idea, we see that. We also see, and I'm sure you will justify it, the marrying of Aisha at 6, and then when she was 9 when he had sex with her. And I know some people don't agree with that.
That was a move.
Look, brother. Restricting sexual relations solely to their spouses or those lawful in their possessions. Slaves, captives.
At the time.
So if I go and capture someone on the street, she's now my sex slave. She's lawful for me. It's halal.
Not really.
In Islam.
That's abolished now.
There was no.
It's not. I went right through the Bible looking. It's not in the Bible.
They still have sex slaves, brother.
No, it's not in the Bible.
They still have it, yeah.
No, there isn't where it says not to kill the young women. It says take for themselves, but if you look at the original text, they can't, because the law doesn't allow them to have sex with unless they're married to them, and they can't have multiple wives. Okay, and there has to be consent, because marriage in biblical marriage requires consent. You cannot force marriage. That's very clear in the biblical text.
Of course it is. 100%.
Do you believe that everything's Israel's fault? Everything, the whole world's all Israel. And nothing, the Islamic world's done nothing wrong.
What about
interest? No, never.
Who started the fight, the recent fight? Who started the recent
October the 7th?
What? Did the fight start at October 7th?
Yeah, I know, that's the saying, I know. It all started back when Muslims didn't want to sign any treaty with the Jews.
There's like real Jews and then there's Zionists. Okay.
What does Zionist mean?
They're the ones that support the state of Israel.
Yep.
They want the greater Israel to be made.
What does a two-state?
Have you seen the greater Israel?
Do you believe the Saudis have a right to their own land?
The Saudis.
Yeah.
The Egyptians. They've been there for ages.
Israel was the same. Look in Beni Israel. Who's Beni Israel?
It's in your own Quran.
Who's Beni Israel?
Yeah, but
the land has been assigned to you.
Yeah. What? So they can just take it after like
Allah told them to take it.
After 2,000 years, they can kill children to take out their land.
on a second. Allah told him to take it. He
Wait,
never
so that justifies them killing children?
Yeah, you're making a lot of claims.
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 Have you not seen the statistics? Show me the statistics. They killed 70,000 Palestinians in 1 year. 2 years. And 30,000 of those
You know
were
these,
children.
you know those. Are you sure they're not Hamas numbers? Are you sure that they? Are you
That
sure
was
that?
reported by everyone.
No, brother,
not
here's
just
the problem. Are you sure that they're just not just civilians? Are you sure they're not army as well? Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's the thing you don't know, because Hamas, they
But
don't
they
dress.
killed- what
They
about-
don't dress in army garb.
What about them killing the journalists, the children? Do you think a little kid can be a terrorist? Do you think a little kid can be a terrorist? No, tell me this.
We can talk hypotheticals all
No, do you think a
time.
little kid can be a terrorist?
All day long. We
I-
can talk about
No,
this.
no,
You
no,
weren't
just
there.
answer,
I
just
wasn't
answer my
there.
question.
I wasn't
Do you think
there.
a little kid can be a terrorist?
Did you see? Were you there? Did you count the numbers?
Well, they did.
So that's what I'm saying. You still have to trust someone else, right?
Yeah, but that's
what
all
I'm
the
saying.
sources. It's not just the.
And that's why we're talking about ideology, because we can read the text, what it says, okay, and we can put it up against the Christian text, which is what's obviously influenced our society here, which is, like I said, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom to protest, equality between men and women, equality before the law, equality between all people, the abolition of slavery, and we can go, well, we can see exactly where these principles came from, but we can see where a lot of the dark stuff that we do see and we hear about from people who are victims of, wait, we can see where that comes from this text, and that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, but brother, there's a difference between preaching stuff and actually following it. And I've seen 90, way more than that. Christians that don't follow their own religion. They're Christians by
And I agree, that's no good. If you don't follow, what's a Christian mean? It's a follower of Christ. So if you say I'm a Christian and you don't follow Christ, by default you're not a Christian. You understand? That's the point. That's what a Christian is. Okay? I can say I'm a Sparky, but I don't know I don't do any of the stuff that a Sparky would do. I'm not a Sparky. Right? I can say I'm a tram driver, but I've never driven a tram, or I don't drive trams. I'm not a tram driver. I'm not a Christian if I don't follow Christ.
Brother.
That's what a Christian is.
You could say the same thing about the Muslims that are doing this.
Well,
they're not a Muslim.
the ones that follow, the text does say those things, though. It does.
Brother, look, make war on the infidels living in the neighbourhood. Do you think they did that on Bondi Beach? Do you think they're good Muslims because they're following the Quran?
No.
Yeah, but they followed the Quran.
But who tackled that guy? The guy that was shooting. Yeah?
I know, but he didn't stop. I know he's a Muslim, right?
Yep.
That's not a good Muslim. Because he's not following his
This
Quran.
is not about Muslims. It's about Islam, the teaching. It's not about people. It's about the ideology. That's our issue. That's why it's the
We
book.
don't hate Muslims, brother.
It's about the ideology.
I don't hate Muslims. We hate an ideology that preaches hate. That's all. That's all we do.
If you didn't hate us, you wouldn't have said that.
No.
Well, that's your assumption.
Can you say anywhere where it says should Muslims be banned?
The Quran, should the Quran be banned?
It's a question. Should it be banned for hate speech? So we can get this dialogue with you.
That's not hate speech. Hate speech, is it?
What is?
Marrying your cousin, how's that hate speech?
No, that's just one of the issues I have with the Quran. Those are some of the verses.
No, it's just that. That's just some.
It's just some. There's lots.
Did you go through the whole Quran?
Yeah, we have, and
That's all you found?
Don't worry, I've got so many more I can get you.
Yeah, we just went because we need to fit it on a short thing. So
I haven't gone through the Bible, but I can go through it and I can show you.
Oh, I know there's a few things that are quite harsh in there.
What a few.
No, it's
I don't think it's
nowhere
a few.
near what is in this text. And you know how you know? So this is how Christian judges. You judge them by their fruits, right? Now, if you look at the Christian societies, they function well. They have, there's no marry a rapist laws. There's no, child marriages. We don't have those.
Rapist law.
Yeah. Just the other day, because I get all these reports because I'm part of it's a Pakistani Christian organisation that raise money for people in Pakistan who are Christians who have been persecuted, and I've actually spent time with them, and we've brought them out as well. And there was just recently there was another one where a woman was raped by a Muslim man, and the only way for her to not go to jail was to marry the rapist. No, it's backwards.
I've never heard
But
of that.
these people derive these
I don't know
ideas.
where you got that from, actually.
These people derive these marry a rapist
That
laws.
rapist, someone that raped
Oh,
a
yeah.
woman,
Yeah.
they died by hanging straight up. That's the law in Iran.
No, this is in Pakistan. This is in Pakistan.
Sharia now. Yeah. The Sharia law is a
Look,
woman
look,
that's
wait,
raped,
What happens to someone?
because they blame the woman because the woman is uncovered.
What
If the
happens to a
woman is
rapist in
uncovered-
America? What happens to a rapist here?
They go to jail.
Yeah. And what does that do?
Not enough.
Nothing.
Not enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a Christian country.
Yeah,
They should
our
hang
laws,
them.
but our laws aren't all Christian anymore because we've been attacked by communists.
Well, so you think
no,
we-
listen to me. Okay, just listen. Hear me out. We have a communist government called Labor, and most of you Muslims vote Labor and actually vote Greens, which are completely against our Christian heritage. That's another issue we have here. For some reason, you guys all block vote for the parties that are destroying our Christian heritage.
Oh, liberals are just hateful. That's the thing.
Liberals aren't much better either.
Yeah, so there's literally.
But
no
you
other-
probably think that they're hateful because they don't, they're not warm to the Islamic ideology.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whereas the other one, the
As
other
a Christian,
people,
you should be warm to any religion. Should you not?
no, not at
So
all.
why not?
Because anything that raises or elevates itself above the knowledge of God is something that I cannot accept.
Yeah, so you don't accept Islam because of that?
No. There's a number of reasons why I don't like the ideology of Islam, and one of them is because it's in conflict with our values.
That's just in Iran. They do the same thing in
What's that?
Saudi. They do the same thing in every Muslim country.
Yeah, that's good that they do that. They're not in every.
So I
not
don't
in
know where
every.
you got the other thing.
No, it's not in every Islamic country at all. They're not all the same. Some have apostasy laws, some don't. So some have laws where if you leave your religion, obviously we're not going to agree, but it's good that we're having the discussion. Okay, I don't hate you, but I don't like the ideology that comes from this. I don't like the societies built on this. I don't think they're beautiful societies. I think the Western societies were the ones that had the most prosperity and the most
Epstein.
values. What's Epstein got to do? So you think the Western society? You think Christianity created Epstein?
Well, wasn't Epstein Christian? Oh no, he was Jew actually.
Epstein was a Jew.
And then Trump was a Christian.
Trump still is a
ju-
Christian.
Yeah.
And Epstein, I
And
think,
you
was
see-
an anti-Zionist Jew too. I don't think he was a. Was he? He wasn't a pro-Zionist Jew.
Epstein was a sex criminal. If you think Epstein has anything to do with Israel, you're a racist. Because he had nothing to do with the country.
Yes,
he
he
was
did.
just Jewish.
Wait, let me
You know
see.
what? Ehud Barak, the former
you can-
Prime Minister of Israel, went to Epstein Island. Guess what? So did the leaders of France and the UK and the United States
Yeah,
and
they're
Germany.
Christians. They're Christians, and they went there. Oh my God.
But so what? It just means these guys are sex criminals.
Yeah,
That's
Yep,
it.
That's it.
And I agree with you.
but that's their leaders. They went there. That's the leaders.
Yep.
That's supposed
Yeah,
to be.
so
They're supposed to set the standards.
The leaders in I would say probably in nearly every country, I believe are evil.
Who
And
goes to become a politician? Only the worst people. You
Even
have to be an egomaniac. You have to want power. You've got to be a liar. Sorry.
So even in the biblical text, we've got, I don't know if you know much about the biblical text, we've got the book of 1st and 2nd Kings, and it lists out all the kings of Israel, right? And it's not just the Jews, because there were 12 tribes of Israel, then there became 2 kingdoms of Israel. One was Judea and one was Israel. But the nearly all of those kings were evil, because power corrupts. You've probably heard the saying, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the reason...
Power corrupts.
Power
I
corrupts.
haven't heard it.
Oh, it's a famous
good
saying.
one, right?
It's a famous saying. Power corrupts people. So you'll see that
absolute power corrupts you absolutely.
So, and that's why.
So you guys believe that every single leader is evil?
Not everyone, but I'd say the majority would
Who do
be.
you think is good?
Who
do you think
I reckon
is good?
Viktor Orban from Hungary is a good guy. I like him. I think he's solid. Same with the Polish leadership. I think it's good. I think some of the Eastern Bloc countries are still holding on to their Christian heritage, their values, and doing what's right by the people. I think most of the other European ones, I think, have been gone a long time. And these are the same ones that are bringing in all of the immigration as well. And that's to destroy the society. I believe that is
Do you
part of
think there's any good leaders?
He likes Khomeini.
You like Khomeini?
Of course. Why do you guys not like
Khomeini?
Yeah. Why do you think he's evil?
Why do I think he's
Every Iranian that I've met, by you, are you Iranian? No, you're Afghani, right? Every Iranian I've met, and I've trained with a lot of them in the wrestling team. I was an MMA fighter. That's what I used to do. Everyone that I've met, my doctor's Iranian. All of them.
Have you seen how he treated the Balochis?
But did you guys live in Iran?
No, I don't think I have to because, and I'll tell you why. The best, so it's one thing to look at on the internet and ask ChatGPT for answers, but when you speak to people directly and individually, they don't have an agenda. It's different if you see someone on a stage, they might have an agenda, but when you talk to people, your neighbours, your doctor, and you ask them what they think and they tell you, and there's a consistency among all of them, I think to myself, yeah, I think that is what's going on. And there is plenty of stuff online that confirms it as well.
Yeah, but there's a difference between the Iranis here and the Iranis there. Yeah. There's a big difference between them. You know that?
What's the difference?
Well, the ones that are here, they support Israel. Right now, Israel is killing their people and they're celebrating. How does that work?
Why are they celebrating?
I don't know, because they're Zionists.
Oh, they must be.
Of course they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they are.
So,
who celebrates their own people die from dying?
Yeah.
Well, Khomeini killed what? 40,000, 50,000 Iranians? Do you condemn that? Do you think that's a problem?
Was that confirmed?
How are you going to confirm it?
How are you going to confirm
was the other?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So why won't we be honest?
Why is he hiding?
You did the same.
He's what?
Why did he hide it? Why did he turn off the internet?
Because there was Israeli spies there, Mossad agents. You know
And
that you know Iran is filled with them.
Yeah, the whole country.
Yeah, obviously
How many?
Well, the Jews are responsible for everything. He's agreed. You agreed with that earlier, didn't you? You said that. I asked the question: Are the Jews behind everything?
There's good Jews.
Are the Zionists behind everything?
Zionists, yes.
They're behind everything. There you go. Okay.
What
So on that
what
note,
does it mean to be a Zionist?
Well, supporting the state of Israel. And what they're doing.
And what does that mean? That means that you're behind all the evil in the world? What made you think that?
Because of what they're doing in Gaza.
Oh, so before Gaza, it wasn't the fault of the Zionists or the evil in the world?
well, we're not going to get anywhere,
Okay.
and we're going to get the car. The car's going to, our parking's run out. So
Come another time and talk
all
with
the
us
best.
again.
Well, put another book there next time. We'll see.
Bring us examples of the other books. We'll talk about all of them.
We'll
put London and stuff. Put something else.
Well, no, I think the Quran's
There's
good there.
other books as well.
I like having the Quran there. It gets the attention of people.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Take care, guys. You're right with that?